Hey guys, it's Katie. Just want to jump in with a little disclaimer before we get into this episode because you will hear me say in this episode that my family and friends didn't yet know about my podcast, and I do explain why in the episodes. You'll understand more in a little bit, but I just wanted to call that out in case you're confused as you're listening. In full transparency, I did record this episode a couple of weeks ago, and I thought about re-recording it, but it wouldn't feel totally genuine to me because I was really feeling what I was saying in that moment, and I really liked how this episode came out. So I did want to just call that out ahead of time. But that being said, I also want to say thank you so much to anyone who has reached out to me with a nice message. I've gotten a lot of DMs and texts from friends, family, people I haven't spoken to in a long time. I've been absolutely shocked, but so appreciative. So thank you so much to anyone who has reached out or listened or anything. But I will let you guys go ahead and get into this episode where we have real, honest talk about real shit so I can give you all of the advice that I wish I had that time when. Today I am sitting in my bed recording this. I have both of my cats passed out next to me. I have like candles going. I've got my cold brew sitting next to me. I am really like vibing out today. I've got so many candles lit in my living room. Like my whole apartment is just major cozy vibes. I have fuzzy blankets everywhere. It's a gross day today. Like it is the end of April when I'm recording this, at least, maybe not when you're hearing it. And it is in the 40s today in Massachusetts and raining. It's disgusting. So I decided I was just going to spend the whole day like hanging out in my bed doing my work. And I'm enjoying it so far. I woke up at an ungodly hour this morning. My boyfriend left for work really early and he woke me up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So I've been up for like hours just sitting on my phone and doing random work stuff. And I spent at least 2 hours this morning looking at houses for sale. I have this really weird hobby. I love to just like look up random places across the country and just look at houses. Like I love home decor. I love architecture. I love real estate. Like that's just such a nerdy, thing I'm into. So I spent 2 or 3 hours this morning looking at houses for sale in California, like just because. So I'm just in such a like chill mood today. It's really great. This will probably be such a rambly episode. So I'm really sorry if I get super annoying by the end. But I think today what I want to talk about is just insecurity and like feeling uncomfortable and kind of working through all of that weird uncomfortableness. Because I think that there are a lot of things about life that can make us feel insecure. And like in my last episode, or not, maybe it was 2 episodes ago now. Sorry, I'm like losing track of my own shit. In my episode where I talk about navigating your 20s, I talked about how there are so many different life stages that you go through in your 20s, and like with that just comes so much change. And I think that there's a lot of uncomfortableness you kind of just have to work through and figure it out. And one of the first things that I want to talk about that's at least really relating to me right now in my life is starting a podcast. I was so nervous to start this podcast, like so nervous. And this is something I've told myself I was going to do for years now. Literally, I think I started talking about this probably when I graduated college, maybe right before or right after. So I was like 22 or 23. And I've wanted to do it for so long and I just never did. And I think a lot of that had to do with insecurity. Like I was so nervous to just do it because I was afraid, what are people going to think of me? Like, are my friends going to think that this is weird? Are the people that I haven't talked to in years that see when I start posting about this gonna think that I'm super weird? Who is this bitch to think that she should have a podcast? Like, honestly, these are all things that were going through my head. Like, I was so afraid. I was afraid that, like, people were gonna talk behind my back about it. And then I thought, like, the common sense side of me kind of kicked in, and I was like, who the fuck cares? Like, if these people want to talk shit about me behind my back, like, I'm 27 years old now. If you want to talk shit about me, go ahead. Like, live your life. I really don't care. You're only making life shittier for yourself. You're really not affecting what I'm doing because I'm going to keep doing it regardless. But I wasn't always like that, which obviously is why it took me so long to even start this podcast, because it's just the insecurity thing. Like, you worry about what people are going to think about you and what they're going to say. And if you're good enough, like, I hear all these podcasts and I see all these girls sharing their podcasts and like doing so well, and you know, they have all these followers on Instagram and everything and all these amazing guests on their podcast, and I'm like, well, I could never get to that point. Like, no one will really want to hear what I have to say. But then over time, I had to have so many pep talks with myself, first off. But like over time, I just realized, well, you know what? I care what I have to say, and this is something that I have always wanted to do. So what's the harm in just going for it? Like, just freaking try it. I don't know. It's been scary. I'm not going to lie. It's been scary starting a podcast and like putting myself out there, especially because I want this podcast to be something where I'm just totally myself and I'm totally honest and I don't hold back, and what you hear is what you would get if you met me in real life, and or if you know me in real life. I hope that what you're hearing is how you think I really am in real life. I want it to be very, very genuine. And that's scary because it's like you're kind of just being super vulnerable to people. That's such a scary thing, I think, for anyone. It's hard to just be unapologetically yourself because, like I said, it literally is just a big circle. It all comes back to like the insecurity thing and feeling uncomfortable. So when I first started this podcast, I texted two of my best friends and I was like, hey guys, like, I think I'm going to start a podcast. And they were really, really supportive. Like, they were awesome. But I recorded like 3 episodes of this and I didn't even tell them about it until my 3rd episode was up because I was so scared to tell people. And hopefully by the time this episode is up, I will have started like, posting about it on my own Instagram. I mean, I've been posting about it on my podcast Instagram. Go follow it, by the way, at That Time When Pod. Posting some really good content on there so far, I think. But hopefully by the time this episode is up, I will have told like family and friends and stuff that I'm, doing a podcast, and they'll get to hear this too. But like, that's so scary to me. I'm still scared. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. It's not like just because I started this podcast, like all of a sudden all of my insecurities have just gone away. And because I got the balls to do this, I have the balls to just tell everyone in the world. Like, that is so not true, because I know the things that I want to eventually talk about on here. And like some of it, I'm scared for people who actually know me to listen to it. And I think that can apply to kind of any project that you're really working on. Like anytime that like you're being creative and sharing your own work and stuff, like for some reason it's scarier for the people that know you to be the ones hearing it or seeing it, or just involving them in general. Like, it's scarier for the people that actually know you in real life, because I think like their opinions carry more weight. If they didn't like it, it would hurt me more to hear that. So it's so much easier to tell these strangers for some reason who don't know me at all. Like, I don't care if they don't like it because they don't know me in my personal life. So it's like, whatever, screw you. I don't give a shit. But with my family, at least, I don't know. I'm the kind of person, I get embarrassed really easily, and I'm like so overly sensitive. Just ask my boyfriend. He'll say something that's literally not mean at all. And I'm like, he likes to joke that I'll be like on the verge of tears. Not exactly true. But like, I'm so sensitive, and I don't always show that. I don't think everyone that knows me would say I'm a really sensitive person, but I think the people that know me well would say I'm a very sensitive person. So like, the thought of people having bad things to say about my podcast to me, like, oh my gosh, I try to be really good about taking criticism, but I'm not the best at it, and I'm working on it. It's just so scary. So like, the insecurity I've been feeling through this whole process of starting and trying to grow and build my podcast has been so real. And I've been like listening to other podcasts about, how to grow your podcast and how to build an audience and how to, get things up and running and whatever. And they all just say you have to just go for it. Like, what's holding you back? There's no better time to start than now, etc., etc., etc. And it's very true. If there's something that you want to do, you shouldn't let your insecurities or the uncomfortable feeling of, not knowing exactly what you're doing hold you back. You kind of just have to do it. And I'm so glad that I finally did. Like, I'm really, really proud of myself for actually just doing this, because I don't know, I thought that maybe it would be one of those things that I would always wish I did, and I just never did. And now that it's up, like, this is so nerdy and like probably a little embarrassing to admit, but I constantly refresh like the Apple Podcast page for my podcast, and nothing changes. Like, I know exactly what's on there. I know all the episodes I've posted so far. Like, nothing changes. But it's just so satisfying to me to look at it and be like, I did that. Like, that's me. I finally fucking did it. And same with my Instagram. I'm refreshing my Instagram all the time. Please follow my Instagram at That Time When Pod. Shameless plug. But I refresh it all the time because I'm just so proud of myself. And I think you should be proud of yourself. If you're going out of your comfort zone and doing something, be fucking proud. Tell everyone. You should be so proud of the hard work you've put in and the balls it took to finally just do it. But, that's my little spiel about my podcast, I guess. I could go on and on about this for this entire episode, but I'm going to try not to. But anyways, if you're someone that actually knows me in real life and you're finally listening to this, or it's your first episode you listened to, thank you so much. And if you have been listening and I don't know you, thank you to anyone who's been listening to this. It means a lot that people are actually listening to what I have to say, because like I said, I didn't know if anyone would even want to hear what I have to say. And it's been kind of scary in a good way starting this. It's challenging me in a lot of ways, but it's fun to have something that's solely mine, and this is my project to work on and grow and change and figure out what I want out of all of this. It's been really cool. I've never had something like that. Obviously, I have my work at my real job, but that's not just mine. This is something that's totally mine, and it's been so fun. So again, thank you so much for listening. I'm getting so cheesy, but I really do appreciate it. It does mean a lot that people actually want to hear what I have to say. But anyways, okay, enough about my freaking podcast. You guys are listening to it already, so you probably don't want to just hear me fucking ramble about it for 30 minutes. So anyways, like I said, what I want to talk about in this episode is just insecurity and feeling uncomfortable and working through all of that. I think it's so easy to feel insecure nowadays, and I talk about this in my health and wellness episode, but social media just really, I think, brings that to the forefront. Everything you see on social media is a highlight reel, and I think people know that nowadays more than they used to. People know now to take social media stuff with a grain of salt and know that people are only showing the good things, and you don't always see what real life is like. But that doesn't make it any less easy to feel insecure about yourself when you're seeing all these beautiful things and people and places, and you're like, well, that's not how I look. That's not how my life looks. My apartment doesn't look like that. I don't have those nice clothes or that nice bag. It's so easy to just feel insecure with what you have. And I wish I could say that I have all of the advice in the world to help you get over that, but I don't. And I don't think anyone does, to be honest. You can tell someone a million times over, just don't think about it. Just get over it. Be happy with what you have. Be happy with yourself. But you have to actually believe that to do it. I think at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to you. People can preach to you as much as they fucking want, but you have to just feel it and want to just be happy with what you have, and to genuinely be happy with who you are and the things you have in your life, and all the good things you have going for you. I feel I hate that feeling of when I'm looking at something and I just feel that deep-rooted insecurity kind of bubbling up. I used to be a much more insecure person than I am now. I used to always compare myself to the people in my life, to people I saw on social media or on TV or whatever. I never thought that I was as pretty as my friends, or I was as pretty as that girl on TV, or I was as skinny as her, which, by the way, it doesn't matter what the hell weight you are. I would just like to say that one more time. I'm pretty sure I said that in my last episode, but I just want to say that again. I always would think, I wasn't as smart as that person. I'm not as funny as that person. I was always comparing myself. And I can't even pinpoint, what shifted it for me. I think, honestly, I just got really tired of feeling like I wasn't enough. I got so tired of that feeling. And boyfriends don't help with that. Guys you're dating don't help with that feeling usually. My boyfriend now, he makes me feel great, but boyfriends in the past made me feel total shit sometimes. My last serious relationship, he made me feel like I was an absolute crazy bitch, which yeah, I can be fucking crazy sometimes, but not the way that he was making me feel. He made me feel just so I was a manipulative, evil person. I was just out to hurt people, and that is so not me. If you know me at all, that is so not me. But he just made me feel so insecure with that. And I remember I was in good shape when I met him. It was close to my lowest weight as an adult, And then I gained a little bit of weight like during a relationship. I know that people like talk about how you gain weight during a relationship just because you stop like caring as much, and it's kind of like a jokey thing. But yeah, I gained like a little bit of weight, and then we broke up at one point for like a couple, maybe a couple weeks. I don't even remember. And we got back together, and I remember one night we were like cuddling on the couch, and he had his arm around my stomach, and he was like, "You feel skinnier. Like, did you lose a little weight?" And I was like, "Oh, like." He notices my weight. He's commenting on my weight. Like, did he think I was like too fat before? Like, did he not like the way I was before? And it was like that insecurity thing. And like, I mean, if you've listened to my story time episode, my second episode about my first boyfriend, like, he made me feel really awful and crazy. And like, I didn't talk about all of the stuff that he made me feel, but like, I felt like I was like the shittiest girlfriend. I felt like I was like that stereotypical annoying girlfriend that no one wanted around. Like, I felt awful about myself. And it took me a really long time after that relationship ended and after my last relationship ended to just build myself back up and to not feel so insecure because someone else tore me down. And that is such a shitty feeling. If you're going through that, if you've been through that and you can relate, like, I feel for you, because it is so shitty to feel like someone else has defined your self-worth and made you feel so insecure about who you are. And I think you get to a point where you know in your head that that's not true, but you don't know how to get past it, and you don't know how to move on from it and to build yourself back up and to not let that, be constantly playing on a loop in the back of your head. Like, it's so difficult. So I really feel for you if you're going through that, because it sucks, and you just have to keep reminding yourself. I think that was probably the only thing that really helped me, is like just constantly reminding myself, like, I am enough. I'm beautiful. I'm smart. I'm funny. I have all these amazing things going for me. I've built a great life for myself. Who the hell gives a shit what this person who did nothing good for me anyways thinks? Like, who cares? Why am I letting them control my day-to-day, especially like when they're not even in your life anymore? And I guess I'm talking like specifically about insecurity caused by boys right now, or like a relationship. But it's like, if they're not even in your life anymore, why are you still letting them have control over your life? That was something that I really had a hard time with, was like, I've cut them out in every other aspect. I have blocked their number. I have blocked them on social media. I have zero contact with them. Why am I still letting them in my life, in my head? Like, why are they living rent-free in my freaking head? Like, get them the fuck out. Don't let negative talk from boys or whoever be controlling your mindset. It's so shitty. And I know it sounds easier said than done. And I keep saying, like, people can preach at you all they want, but you have to really believe it. But like, you just have to keep telling yourself. And I think that was the only thing that helped me get past it. And even just like comparing myself, like getting past that insecurity of comparing myself. Like, I still do that sometimes. I still compare myself to people sometimes. And it's just, when you do have like something great happen in your life, or when you do have a moment where you're feeling good about yourself, like, write down how you're feeling. Like, I journal a lot. I love to journal. I have a whole bag under my bed. I said that because there's a cop car driving by right now with sirens. Under my bed, I have a whole bag of journals, and I love to write in my journal constantly. Like, I've done it for years and years. My very first journal is like a Mickey Mouse notebook that I got at Disney World in the second grade. I'm pretty sure it was when I went. So I've been doing it forever. But when you're having those moments where you're feeling good, write it down. Write down how good you're feeling. And I think that things stick in your head better when you write them down. So even if you don't go back and read it when you're having a shitty day, like, I'll be honest, I don't do that. But just writing it down and having it stick in my brain a little bit more, like how good I felt in that moment, helps me when I'm feeling bad to remember that it's a temporary feeling. And that's another thing that I think really helps. Just remembering that feelings are temporary. Like, it passes. You'll get over it eventually. Like, you're not always going to feel like this. Things get better. But seriously, I recommend journaling. It helps so, so, so much. Or like talking to a friend, like when you're feeling really down. I was having a tough time a few months back, and like wasn't feeling my greatest. And I went out to dinner with a couple of my friends, and just telling them how I was feeling and having them talk me back up Like, that meant the world. Like, that helped me so much. I felt so much better after that. But I keep saying this, insecurity is not an easy thing to just, get past or overcome. Like, it's gonna feel uncomfortable to work through it. And I don't think all insecurity needs to be like so deep rooted. Like, you can feel insecure about work stuff. Like, sometimes even just at work, like, I'll feel insecure, like, ooh, am I doing like the best work I can right now? Like, should I be working harder to be doing as good work as so and so because she's crushing it? Like, I want to be doing as well as she's doing. Like, but am I at that level yet? Like, it's easy to just feel those little insecurities and kind of self-doubt and self-talk, but you have to catch yourself in the moment. Like, when you're self-doubting yourself and having that little self-talk in your head, you have to catch yourself and reverse your mindset. And I'm not one of these people who's going to sit here and talk to you about manifesting and all that. Like, sorry if you're on the manifesting train. I think it's slight BS. I don't know. It's not my thing. I'm too much of a realist for it. Like, it is just not my thing. But I think you can, change your mindset by just like talking to yourself in your head and like talking yourself up. I think at the end of the day, all you've got is you. Like, you are the one person you're going to be able to rely on no matter what. So you have to have a good relationship with yourself. And if you're sitting there doubting yourself and like talking yourself down in your head, like, your relationship with yourself is clearly pretty shitty. Like, you need to get that shit on track. Like, you have to talk yourself up. You can't be talking badly in your head because we live in a world where everything is filled with so much negativity, and it's so easy to just let that kind of consume you. But if you're having, positive self-talk in your head and you're telling yourself, hell yeah, I crushed that presentation at work. Like, I crushed that project. I look hot in this outfit. Like, I don't know, whatever example you can think of, I guess. As long as you're telling yourself that in your head, like, you're going to start to believe it. Like, I think it really is. You've just got to kind of fake it till you make it. I mean, I'm still not the most self-assured, most confident person ever. Like, I still have my days and my moments, and I think literally everyone does. Like, if you don't, then please tell me your secrets because I could really use them. But everyone's going to have those times, and you're still going to have moments where you might get down on yourself. But I think the biggest thing for me is, like, I'm more mindful of my mindset, and I can catch myself when I'm having those moments, and I can, talk myself out of it a little bit, or at least like do things that I know are going to make me feel better about myself so that I don't go down some kind of a rabbit hole and get really stuck on that. I think just being mindful of your mindset is the best thing that you can do for yourself, because you're never going to be fully over any of those things. Like, comparison is a natural thing in our world. Like, it's easy to compare things all the time, and you're going to compare yourself every once in a while, or, feel insecure. Like, that's part of trying new things. You might feel insecure if you're trying something new, or if you're in a new situation, or whatever it is. Like, it's natural to feel insecure sometimes. But just catching your mindset and making sure that you don't get too negative on yourself, I think that that's what really helped me in the long run. And I think that's like the only tip I can possibly give people, because like I said, I'm not some perfect person and no one is. So it's hard to say if there's like some sort of secret key to fixing those feelings. But that's the one thing that really, really helped me. And I think that's the only thing I could really tell other people to help them get out of it. Because I was definitely one of those people who would like really get down on myself, and like I would let it affect my mood in all aspects of my life. Like, I would get down on myself, let's say in the morning, like if I was trying on clothes and I felt like I don't like the way anything fits me right now, I don't like the way I look in anything, like it would literally ruin my day. Like, there were days I would literally go home from work to go change, or like I would have backup clothes in my car to change, because like if I felt that insecure in the morning, like I couldn't shake it. It literally would affect my whole day. And I'm really glad that I'm in a place now where like that doesn't happen to me, because that's so shitty. Like, letting how you think you look in your outfit, like that's just my example at least, but like letting one little thing ruin your entire day. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I look back and remember that like that's how I used to be. And I'm really grateful that I'm past that, and I do have a little bit more self-confidence, and I am a little bit more comfortable with myself, and I'm a more self-assured person. And I take the time sometimes, just to reflect on that and be really grateful for where I am now, and to think like, wow, like I have come a long way. And I think it's okay to not be humble in your head. Like, in your head, you should be talking yourself up. Like, I'm not saying you should get an ego and, like, you know, become some really, like, narcissistic person, like, walking around like you are, like, top shit. But I think it's okay to not be humble in your head and to, like, be talking yourself up and being like, hell yeah, like, I crushed that project at work. Like, I look damn good in this outfit, or like, I work damn hard to feel this way, or whatever it is for you. Like, don't be humble in your head. No one's gonna, like, take the time out of their day to say to you, I'm really proud for how far you've come, or like, I'm really proud that you did this. I mean, at least not on a daily basis. Like, I would hope that you have friends or family who do tell you that they appreciate you, and like, maybe you've got friends and family that give you pep talks every day, and like, if you do, keep those people around. But like, on a daily basis, I don't think that you're going to hear that from everyone else, from the world. So you have to do that for yourself. Like, talk yourself up every single day. Take the time to celebrate your accomplishments and celebrate the work you've done and celebrate just who you are as a person. Because no one's going to just be doing that for you. So, you know, be proud. Like, take the time to be proud, because I think that is a big piece of changing your mindset and staying in a more positive mindset, is just focusing on the positives rather than the negatives. And I know that that's like kind of a like duh thing, like it's really obvious, but it really does go a long way if you can be more conscious of focusing on the positive stuff. But also, if you're in a situation, like, not every situation that makes you feel a little bit insecure or uncomfortable is going to be bad. Like, I think that sometimes that uncomfortableness can challenge you. Like, I think there's a difference between feeling insecure and not feeling good enough, or just feeling uncomfortable because it's something you haven't tried before or it's new to you. And I think that those situations are a good thing. Like, let the uncomfortableness challenge you. Like, that's a moment of change, I think, and a moment that you can work through and get some sort of self-growth out of it. Sorry, I'm like stuttering over my words because my lips are so freaking chapped. But I think that that's a moment that you can, you know, have some self-growth. I cannot talk. That's so embarrassing. Sorry, guys. That's a moment where you can really learn something new about yourself, or maybe bring out something in yourself that you didn't know you had. So it doesn't all have to be bad. Like, I really do think that the things that are uncomfortable can be good. Bringing it back to what I was talking about in the beginning of the episode, just because that's what's most relevant for me in my life right now. Like, doing this whole podcast thing is uncomfortable for me because it's something I've never done before, and I'm trying to learn new skills that I didn't have before. And going, you know, outside my comfort zone is super uncomfortable. I'm the kind of person who, I'm a super perfectionist. Like, I like to feel good at everything I do. I want everything I do to be the best it can possibly be. And I think accepting that, like, this isn't going to be perfect right away, and like, I'm not going to be, you know, at the level of the podcast that I look up to right away. It's going to take time. That's something that I just have to kind of work through, and I'm pushing myself to kind of get past it and get past the uncomfortableness and insecurities I feel, because I know that where I want to be is going to be worth it, and like, it's not always going to feel so uncomfortable, and I'm not always going to feel like I have no clue what the hell I'm doing. So I'm trying to just focus on it as an opportunity to grow and get past insecurities that I have. And for me, that insecurity is really caring what other people think and speaking my mind without caring what people think. And like, obviously this is a very public way to be speaking my mind, so it's pushing me really outside of my comfort zone, and it can be kind of scary. Like, I'm scared right now, obviously, but I care more about what I'll get out of it, and I care more about how I'll feel when I don't feel so insecure about that anymore than I do about the fear that I have. So I'm just trying to keep my mind focused on that end goal and trying to see the good that can come out of all of it. So if you're facing a challenging situation, or you're feeling insecure about a situation you're in, I would say just focus on the end goal and focus on the feeling that you're going to have at the end versus the feeling you have now, because chances are that feeling is going to be so worth it, and obviously it's going to feel so much better than being scared or unsure of yourself or doubting yourself. So really, like I keep saying, it's all about just being conscious of your mindset. Like, when you catch yourself having that self-doubt, you need to, you know, change how you're talking to yourself in your head. Like I said, having a really good relationship with yourself and being your biggest supporter in your own head and just flipping it when you feel like you're getting in that negative headspace. I think that's what's helped me the most, and that's kind of the best advice that I can offer anyone else who's going through something similar or feeling that way or feeling insecure about whatever it is that you're dealing with. But I would love to know what you guys' tips are for dealing with insecurities, or what's an insecurity that you have worked through, or what's one that you're working through right now, or what's something that you want to take on that you've kind of been holding yourself back from. You can go over to my Instagram at thattimewhenpod and comment on my latest post, because I would really love to hear from everyone else, because I think this is something that we all go through all the time, and it's something you're kind of always going through throughout your life. There's always going to be these moments. So hopefully my tips have helped you in some way, or if you share your tips on my Instagram, maybe those will help someone else. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. This has been a really vulnerable episode for me, talking about my insecurities on my podcast. But that being said, I really, really appreciate you listening to this episode. I know I've mentioned my Instagram a million times, but if you could go over to @thattimewhenpod on Instagram, give it a follow, it would mean a lot. I also recently became available on Apple Podcasts, so if you could subscribe over there, leave a review, something that would go a really, really long way for me. So thank you again for listening. This has gotten so rambly, so I'm very sorry. And if you've lasted all the way until the end, thank you again. But that's going to be it for this week. So until next time, I will talk to you guys next Monday.